The cargo ship Iron Will floated quietly in deep space. Captain Ronan leaned back in his chair, sipping cold coffee and watching the stars drift by. The crew had just completed a supply drop on Mars 7 and were headed back to Earth. It was supposed to be an easy journey. Then the signal came. "Captain, we're picking up something strange," said Lana, the communication officer. Her voice was tight. "What is it?" Ronan asked, straightening up. "It's a distress signal. Very old code. From Sector 9. Everyone went silent. Sector 9 was known across the galaxy, but not for good reasons. Long ago, it was a bustling colony system. Now it was a ghost zone. All races avoided it. The last time a ship entered, it never returned. "Shut it off," said Malik, the weapons officer. "You know what they say. That place is cursed." But Ronan didn't move. His eyes were locked on the screen. The signal was weak, barely there. But one thing was clear. It was a call for help. "No one goes there anymore," Lana whispered. "Why is there a distress call now?" Ronan stood. "Set course for Sector 9. The crew protested, loudly. But Ronan had a rule. Never ignore a call for help. They reached the edge of Sector 9 12 hours later. The space around them felt dead. No stars, no movement. Just a cold, dark emptiness. "Don't like this," Malik said, checking the radar. "Nothing showing, not even space dust." Then a faint blip appeared on the screen. "There," Lana pointed. "That's the source. It was a small planet, once known as Elyari Prime, once home to a proud alien race called the Elyari, known for their peaceful minds and healing abilities. Now it looked like a graveyard from orbit. "Prep the shuttle," Ronan ordered. Ronan, Lana, and 2 crew members landed near the ruins of a city. The buildings were half collapsed. Ash covered everything. The sky was a sickly gray. They moved slowly, scanning for life. Then they heard it, a soft, high-pitched hum, like a child singing. They followed the sound into an old temple. Inside, broken statues lined the walls, and in the middle of the floor, sitting among the rubble, was a little alien girl. She looked no older than 6, thin, dirty, and shaking. Her eyes were large and glowing faint blue. Her arms hugged a small stuffed toy. She looked up at them and said nothing. "She's Elyari," Lana whispered. "But how did she survive?" Ronan knelt. "Hey, it's okay. We're here to help." The girl didn't move. "She's scared," Lana said. "Maybe she's the only one left." Then they heard coughing, weak, raspy, coming from behind the temple wall. Ronan rushed over and found a hidden room. Inside were 5 more Elyari, older, sicker. One of them, barely alive, looked up. "You're human?" the old alien wheezed. "Yes," Ronan said. "What happened here?" "They left us, all of them, every race. We begged. No one came." Back on the ship, the medical team worked fast. The Elyari survivors were in critical condition. The little girl still hadn't spoken a word, but she kept looking at Ronan with wide, glowing eyes. Later that night, Lana came to Ronan's cabin. "She has no ID," she said. "Nothing, just that doll." "Maybe she's too young to remember," Ronan said. Lana shook her head. "No, there's something strange. She doesn't eat much, doesn't sleep, and when she touches things, electronics glitch." Ronan frowned. "You think she's dangerous?" "I think she's not normal, but maybe not dangerous, just different." In the observation room, the girl sat quietly, looking out the window at the stars. Ronan stepped in and sat beside her. "You know, most people are scared of Sector 9, he said softly. "But I wasn't, because I believe sometimes someone just needs to care." Still no answer. Then finally she turned to him and spoke. Just one sentence. "They wanted us to disappear." Ronan froze. "Who did?" She looked back at the stars and whispered, "Everyone." The little alien girl sat alone in the medical bay. Her glowing blue eyes watched everything, but she still didn't speak again. No name, no emotion. Just silence. Ronan stood behind the glass wall, arms crossed. He had seen injured soldiers, frightened refugees, even alien warriors. But never someone like her. She was calm, too calm, like she knew something the rest of them didn't. She hasn't said a word since last night, Lana said, entering quietly. Just sits there and stares. No food, no water. Ronan frowned. That's not possible. 3 days, and she's still fine? She's not a normal Elyari, Captain. Ronan nodded slowly. I want a full scan. Something doesn't add up. In the lab, the ship's doctor, Malik, ran deep scans of the girl. At first, everything looked normal until the results began to change. What in the void? Malik whispered. The data was shifting. Her cells were adapting in real time. Her blood was rewriting itself. Some kind of self-repair? Or was it evolution? Malik called Ronan. Captain, you need to see this. The scan results were impossible. Her DNA was different from the other Elyari survivors. It had extra strands, hidden codes, ancient markers. Malik had only seen them once before in a forbidden science file from the Galactic Archives. These markers, Malik said slowly, they match the myth and protocol. It's a lost genetic program from over 10,000 years ago. Rumors said it was designed for something powerful. Like what? Ronan asked. Like a living weapon. Or a protector. Depends on who used it. Ronan looked at the girl on the monitor. She was watching the camera directly now. No blinking, as if she knew. Meanwhile, strange things started happening on the ship. Doors opened without being touched. Lights flickered when she walked by. The navigation systems glitched, only around her room. Even the ship's AI stuttered when she came near. Then, during a routine system check, the AI shut down for 20 seconds. Completely offline. When it came back, it had a message. She remembers. The crew was terrified. Lana confronted Ronan. Captain, we need to talk. She's not just a survivor. Something inside her is waking up, and it's affecting our systems, and all stayed quiet. Then he said, maybe she's trying to send a message. That night, Ronan returned to the observation deck where the girl liked to sit. She was already there, legs crossed, staring at the stars. He sat beside her again. You made our ship say something, he said softly. What does it mean? The girl finally looked at him. I was not meant to survive, she said. Her voice was flat. They erased my people because of me. Ronan felt a chill. Because of you? They feared what I could become. What are you? She looked back at the stars. A memory, a weapon, a key. Suddenly, alarms blared. Across the ship. Unidentified ship approaching. Lana shouted over comms. It's not Elyari. It's Galactic Alliance class. Ronan stood. Why would they come here now? He rushed to the bridge. On the screen appeared an Alliance officer with sharp eyes and a cold voice. Captain Ronan, you have picked up illegal survivors from a restricted zone. Surrender the girl immediately. Ronan's fists clenched. Why? For galactic safety, that's all you need to know. The screen cut off. Lana turned slowly. They don't want her rescued. They want her gone. Back in the observation deck, the girl stood in the center of the room. She raised her hand slowly, and all across the ship the lights turned off. Then, one by one, they flickered back on. In her eyes now shone two symbols, a spiral and a star. Ronan watched her silently. She looked at him, her voice softer than before. Name was erased, but if you give me a name, I will remember who I was. Ronan took a deep breath. Then let's start with a new one. What about Lyra? She blinked and smiled for the first time. The crew of Iron Will didn't sleep that night. Outside in the cold darkness of space, an enormous Galactic Alliance cruiser hovered like a silent predator. Its weapons were armed, its message was clear. Surrender the girl, or face consequences. Inside the ship, the girl who now called herself Lyra sat calmly on the floor of the medical bay. The lights around her pulsed gently, as if syncing with her heartbeat. Captain Ronan stood on the bridge watching the enemy ship on the screen. His face was hard. Behind him, Lana whispered, "They're giving us 1 hour. That's not a warning. It's a countdown." "We're not handing her over," Ronan said. "They're hiding something. We all feel it." Malik walked in holding a datapad. His face was pale. "You need to see this," he said. Malik placed the pad on the table. It showed a classified file, force unlocked by Lyra herself through the ship's AI. At the top, in red letters, Project Silence Termination Order. "It's a list," Malik explained. "Thousands of names. Entire Elyari cities. All labeled for extermination." "Why?" Lana asked, horrified. Malik scrolled down. "Because of the resonant gene. It's what Lyra has. A rare ability that can interface with technology, energy systems, even biological signals. The Alliance feared it." Ronan's fists tightened. "So instead of helping, they wiped out her race to control it. And now," Malik said quietly, "they want to make sure no one remembers it ever existed." Ronan turned to Lana. "Prepare for emergency maneuvers. If they fire, we run, and we protect her. But Captain, we're outgunned. Badly." He looked at her. "So? We're human. That means we don't run from doing what's right." In the shadows of the engineering bay, Lyra stood in front of a glowing console, alone. But she wasn't alone. A ghostly projection flickered beside her, an Elyari woman, tall and radiant, with the same glowing eyes. The image whispered, "It is time, daughter." Lyra touched the screen. Her voice trembled. "They want to end everything I am. But the humans, they chose not to run." The figure nodded. "Then you must awaken the echo." Back on the bridge, red lights flared. "The Alliance ship is powering up weapons," Lana shouted. "Hold steady," Ronan ordered. "All shields to max." Suddenly, every console on Iron Will flickered. The lights dimmed, then surged bright. And then, silence. The screens went black. Then, in the center of the bridge, Lyra walked in, calm, focused, glowing. Behind her, every screen reactivated. Faster, stronger. The ship's AI spoke with new clarity. "System enhancement complete. Command now shares interface with subject Lyra." "What did she do?" Lana gasped. Ronan stared at the controls. "She woke the ship." On the view screen, the enemy cruiser fired a warning shot. A bolt of energy screamed past them, grazing their hull. "Shields down to 70%, Malik said. "We can't survive direct fire." But before Ronan could speak, Lyra raised her hand. She closed her eyes. Outside the ship, something impossible happened. The stars bent. Light twisted, space shimmered. And then a glowing wave burst out from Iron Will, covering it in a shimmering veil. The next laser strike from the enemy ship vanished, passed straight through them. "What did she do?" Lana breathed. "She phased us," Malik said. "We're slightly out of sync with space." The comms activated. "Captain Ronan," said the Alliance voice, "this is your final warning. Hand over the child." Ronan stepped forward, staring into the screen. "Her name is Lyra, and she's under human protection now. Then your species has made a terrible mistake." The screen cut. Lyra looked up at Ronan. "They will send more," she said softly. "Bigger ones, with fewer questions." "Let them come," he replied. "We'll fight for the truth." She looked into his eyes. "Why? You owe me nothing." Ronan knelt beside her. "You were forgotten, abandoned. But we humans, we don't leave people behind. That's not who we are." Lyra blinked slowly, and for the first time in her life, she believed him. Earth was not ready. The transmission from Captain Ronan shocked every major nation and colony. A single human cargo ship had defied the Galactic Alliance, refused their orders, and was now harboring the last living child of a race that history said had gone extinct. Some called Ronan a traitor. Others called him a hero. But all eyes were watching. High above Earth, Iron Will drifted in low orbit under heavy cloak, hidden behind the moon's shadow. Inside, the crew waited for a response from Earth Command. But what came instead was silence. Ronan paced the bridge. "We've sent 6 messages. Not a single reply?" Lana checked her screen again. "They're not ignoring us. They're blocking us. Earth Command has locked comms from any ship marked as hostile by the Alliance." Ronan clenched his jaw. "They already marked us as criminals." Malik entered the bridge looking tired. "There's more. We've intercepted internal Alliance chatter. A small fleet is gathering near Jupiter. They're not coming to talk." In the medical bay, Lyra sat curled up on the bed. She stared at her glowing hands. Images kept flashing in her mind. Broken memories. Voices of her people. Cities falling. Her mother singing to her beneath a blue tree. Then screams. Then fire. She flinched as the door opened. Ronan stepped inside, holding something in his hands. A necklace. A simple one. An earth-made charm shaped like a star. "This was my daughter's," Ronan said softly. "She died young. Sickness we couldn't cure back then. She always believed there was good in the stars." He handed it to Lyra. "She would have wanted you to have it." Lyra's small fingers closed around it. For the first time, her glow dimmed, and her eyes filled with something new. Tears. Back on the bridge, Malik suddenly shouted, "Incoming message, not from Earth, from an independent channel, civilian broadcast." Ronan leaned in. The screen flickered, and a woman's face appeared. Human, elderly, sharp eyes. "This is Dr. Halen of the Free Science Front," she said. "We've seen your broadcast. We decoded the DNA logs. And we believe you." Ronan exhaled. "We want to help you get the truth out," she continued. "The Elyari weren't dangerous. They were silenced because they couldn't be controlled. And now, you've found their last voice." That was the spark. Within hours, more voices joined the call. Scientists, historians, rogue AI programmers, even alien activists from fringe planets. They began to repost the data that Lyra unlocked, files the Alliance had erased for centuries, videos of Elyari cities healing sick alien refugees, reports of tech that cured hunger, shared freely by the Elyari, and final messages crying for help as the Alliance ships rained fire on their peaceful cities. One line echoed across the data streams. "Forgive us. If anyone remembers us at all." On Earth, massive protests broke out. People demanded the government protect the Iron Will. Some tried to contact the crew directly. Artists drew Lyra's glowing eyes. Children wore paper star necklaces like hers. She had become a symbol. But symbols attract fire. The Iron Will's alarm wailed. "Hostile ships incoming," Lana shouted. "Alliance destroyers. 4 of them. They're jamming our cloak." Ronan grabbed the mic. "Battle stations. Everyone to emergency roles." In the medical bay, Lyra stood, trembling. Then the necklace around her neck flashed, reacting to something. Her glow returned. Brighter. Stronger. She walked toward the engineering core. In the heart of the ship, Lyra placed her hand on the engine and spoke, not in words but in frequency. The engine pulsed once, then twice. Then the entire ship shifted. Colors ran along the walls. Energy lines lit up. The AI's voice deepened. New command level detected. Core awakening sequence unlocked. Ronan's voice shouted through comms. "Lyra, what are you doing?" But she didn't answer. She was remembering. Outside, the enemy ships locked weapons. 5 seconds to impact, Malik yelled. Just as the weapons fired, Iron Will vanished, not cloaked, gone, and reappeared behind the lead destroyer. "What? How?" Lana stammered. Lyra's voice came across the bridge speakers, calm, focused. I remembered what we could do. We didn't need weapons. We bent space itself. Ronan stared at the screen. You just bent reality. Lyra appeared on the bridge, glowing brightly. I didn't do it alone. Your ship trusted me. Your crew believed in me. The destroyers turned to fire again. But this time Iron Will unleashed something else. A wave of light. Pure data, truth, the stolen files, the history, the screams, all broadcasted on every galactic channel. Billions across the stars saw it. The Alliance tried to block it. But it was too late. The truth had escaped. Lyra turned to Ronan. You chose to believe. Now others will too. He looked at her. What will they do now? She didn't smile. She simply said, they will fear what they cannot erase again. The galaxy trembled. Within 2 standard hours of Lyra's signal burst, every screen on every connected world, human and alien alike, flashed the same image. A glowing child with Elyari eyes, a soft voice whispering, we only wanted peace. And they erased us. The effect was instant. On Earth, riots broke into full rebellion. In the distant Rune colonies, entire fleets turned away from Alliance control. Even peaceful planets began to whisper a forbidden name once more. Elyari, not extinct, not erased, returning. But while the people felt hope, the Alliance felt fear. Inside, their command chamber orbiting Saturn's outer moon, High Admiral Korn slammed his fist on the table. Deploy Protocol Blacklight. I want Iron Will destroyed. I want that girl incinerated. Do you hear me? The galaxy must not remember what we did. A tall officer nodded and activated the command. 5 massive warships, cloaked in gravitational armor and armed with AI-controlled particle lances, were launched. These were not meant for battle. They were meant for extermination. Above Earth, Iron Will floated quietly. Inside, Ronan stood in the central command room, staring at a star map. So many are responding, Lana said behind him. But they're only civilians, scientists, small groups. We still don't have a fleet. Ronan didn't turn around. We might not need one, he said. Because I think something bigger is coming. In the far reaches of Sector 9, something stirred. A star long thought dead flickered to life. Deep beneath a ruined planet, machines hidden for centuries began to hum. Ancient pods opened. Figures stepped out, tall, slender, glowing faint blue. The Elyari Vaultborn, preserved fragments of their ancient race. Lyra's awakening had sent a pulse, a call, and now, her people were answering. Back on Iron Will, Lyra sat in the ship's core chamber. Her hand touched the metal. Her thoughts echoed across space. She felt them, her kin. Awakened. Not many, but alive. She turned to Ronan. They're coming, the ones who hid. They heard me. Ronan's eyes widened. They survived? Lyra nodded. They stayed buried, waiting for someone brave enough to speak our name again. Then the alarm screamed. Lana gasped. 5 enemy dreadnoughts just jumped out of subspace. They're surrounding us. Malik stared at the screen. They're Alliance Blacklight units, those things. They don't take prisoners. Ronan's voice was calm. They're afraid. Lana whispered. Of her? No, Ronan said. Of the truth. She is the truth. Outside, the warships powered their lances. Inside Iron Will, the crew braced for death, and Lyra closed her eyes. Her voice filled the ship, but it wasn't just her own. It echoed with the voices of thousands, Elyari consciousnesses rising, from the data embedded in her soul. We do not return for revenge, we return to be remembered. Then the space above Earth cracked. A golden ripple tore through the stars, and from it came a ship. No, not a ship, a temple of light, shaped like a blooming flower unfolding in space. From its center came Elyari Vaultborn, 10s of them. glowing, silent, regal, the last of the true Elyari fleet. The blacklight warships turned there, weapons toward the newcomers. Then something strange happened. Their systems failed. Every targeting array, every engine, every AI brain shut down in sync. The Vaultborn had not come to fight. They had come to disable, to stop the killing without killing, and they did. Inside Iron Will, Lana stared at the screens. They shut down those ships without firing a single shot. Ronan turned to Lyra. How? Lyra's voice was steady. Elyari power isn't about control, it's about harmony. They forgot that, but humans, you remembered. A moment later, the blacklight ships were drifting, harmless, Galactic Alliance command channels filled with panic. They had failed. The truth was alive. Later that day, a message was broadcast from Earth, not from any government, but from Ronan himself. He stood beside Lyra. He looked tired, but proud. We humans were once divided, but today we choose to be remembered for our courage, not our silence. We will protect the Elyari. We will protect Lyra. And if you wish to erase them, again, you'll have to erase us too. In the farthest corner of the galaxy, in a lonely listening post, a young alien technician watched the broadcast. He stood slowly, wiped his eyes, and whispered, "They came back. And this time, they're not alone." The galaxy stood at a crossroads. The Elyari Vaultborn had returned. Humanity had taken its side, and the Galactic Alliance, the ancient power that ruled for thousands of years through fear and silence, was losing control. But power does not fall quietly. Far beneath the Central Alliance capital on Zareth Prime, a council of the oldest and most feared beings in the galaxy gathered in a dark chamber. Not elected, not known. These were the real architects of the silence, the ones who ordered the Elyari purge. One of them spoke, voice heavy with contempt. "The humans have spread the infection of memory." Another growled, "The Vaultborn should have died with their cities." The leader, a creature of pale skin and 4 black eyes, raised a cold hand. "Then let them remember war." On the other side of the galaxy, Iron Will was no longer alone. The Vaultborn mothership hovered above it, wrapped in glowing petals of light and anti-gravity energy. Around them, small human vessels, refugee crafts, and rogue peacekeeper units formed a shield. Ronan stood on the bridge, staring at the incoming transmission. A fleet, a real one, was coming. Not 5 ships, not 10. 200 heavily armed Alliance dreadnoughts, all marked with red sigils. "These aren't just soldiers," Malik said. "They're here to crush history itself." Lyra entered, her light brighter now, almost blinding. Her feet no longer touched the floor. She had become more than a child, a living archive of a race reborn. "They will attack soon," she said softly. "They must. If truth lives, their power dies." Ronan looked at her. "Then we make the truth louder." Earth responded first. Against the orders of their politicians, thousands of humans, miners, farmers, ex-military, began flying toward Iron Will. Old ships, civilian crafts, even asteroid haulers. Not much firepower, but full of will. Other worlds followed. The insectoid churn sent cloaked scouts. The outcast Dornick sent living ships. Even factions within the Alliance began to break away. One commander defected on live broadcast saying, "I will not erase a child to protect a lie," and then the sky broke open. From hyperspace, the Alliance superfleet arrived. Engines roared. Missiles locked. Fighters swarmed like angry hornets. The Vaultborn didn't fire first. They projected a final message. Stand down. Accept peace. The past can be forgiven. But silence was met with fire. Lasers rained down. The first hour was chaos. Alliance warships blasted through civilian lines, tearing apart unarmed crafts. Human support vessels tried to shield them, forming walls with their own hulls. One small, Mining ship exploded. Its pilot was just 16 years old. Ronan watched the screens, heartbreaking. They're not stopping. They're not even aiming. They want everyone to burn. Then Lyra stepped into the center of the bridge. She opened her arms and sang, not in a language, not with words, but in frequencies. The ship's AI responded. So did the Vault-born. So did every surviving Elyari archive across the stars. The resonant pulse began, a living code, a harmonic storm. It passed through space like a wave of light, striking every Alliance ship with a single command. Remember. And suddenly, even the enemy crews began seeing things. Visions, truths, children running from fire, cities healing the sick, the betrayal. Some wept openly. Some dropped their weapons. One ship turned and fired at its own fleet, crying, "I was there. I saw what we did." But not all could be reached. The remaining elite units activated Dark Null, a field that erased emotion, memory, empathy. Lyra fell to her knees, coughing blood. "They're trying to erase again," she gasped. "Even now." Ronan rushed to her side. "Don't stop. If you give up now, they win." She looked at him, eyes dim. "I'm not strong enough." He took her hand. "Then take our strength." A strange thing happened next. One by one, humans on nearby ships began singing too. Not her song, but their own. Old Earth songs, protest chants, nursery rhymes, unity in chaos. It amplified Lyra's pulse. The Vault-born joined in, their ships lighting up like stars. The Dark Null began to crack and then collapse. In one final act of defiance, the Alliance flagship charged. Its superweapon, enough power to wipe out every ship. Lyra, barely standing, looked at Ronan. "I can stop it," she said, "but I won't survive." Ronan shook his head. "No, we don't trade lives anymore." He stood, faced the screen, and said to every camera, every watcher, every species, "We are human. We protect the weak. We don't erase the past. We learn from it. And if we must die to prove it, then let the stars remember us as the ones who stood." The flagship fired. But before the blast could hit, the Vault-born surrounded it. A shield formed. The pulse grew louder. The flagship's weapon backfired, imploded, and with it, the war ended. The battlefield was silent now. Wreckage drifted through space like metallic ghosts, some glowing faintly, others completely cold. Where once there had been fire, missiles, screams, and light, now only silence remained. But in that silence, a voice lingered. "We are still here." Lyra's voice. Faint, echoing across comm channels, translated into every language known to the galaxy. She was alive. Barely. Iron Will floated just outside Earth's orbit, its hull blackened and scarred from battle. Inside the medbay, the air was tense. Every light was dimmed. The crew gathered outside the glass window where Lyra lay. Her small frame barely moved. Glowing veins across her arms pulsed softly, like a dying star flickering its last light, and used everything, Malik whispered. All her energy, all the Vault-born's memory. She held the pulse for too long. Ronan said nothing. He simply stood there, watching, waiting. A soft beeping interrupted the silence. The med unit registered a change. Lyra's glow began to stabilize, her fingers twitched, then slowly, painfully, her eyes opened, and she smiled. Meanwhile, across the stars, something extraordinary was happening. On worlds that had once feared the Elyari, people gathered in the streets to celebrate. A child on Cormu 3 held up a toy star and said, "I want to be like Lyra." A council on the desert world of Parnix repealed their human-only laws. The people remembered, and more importantly, they chose to change. The Galactic Alliance, shattered and exposed, crumbled within days. High Admiral Quarn vanished. Many senior officials were arrested or fled. New governments formed quickly, guided by transparency and compassion. Earth proposed a new council, the Union of Memory, to replace the old system. Humans, Elyari, Churn, Dornick, and dozens of species were invited to join. The very races that once turned their backs on truth now fought to protect it. On Earth, millions gathered to welcome Iron Will as it descended through the clouds. No weapons. No military escort, just light. Crowds filled the cities. Children wore glowing star necklaces. Ships painted Lyra's symbol, the spiral and the star, on their hulls. For many, it was the first time they had seen an Elyari in their lifetime. Now, they were cheering for one. In Unity Square, a massive stage was built. Ronan stood behind the podium facing an ocean of life, humans and aliens alike. Cameras floated in the air. Every channel in the galaxy streamed the event. He looked behind him. Lyra stood there nervous, her body still healing but her light steady. He gave her a small nod. She stepped forward, and the galaxy held its breath. "I was born in silence," Lyra said. Her voice was soft but clear, carried by the wind and broadcast to every world. Buried, forgotten, left to fade with the stars. But one ship, one crew, one choice, changed everything. She looked at Ronan, her voice trembling slightly. "They gave me a name, a family, a reason to believe again." She turned back to the crowd. "You were taught to forget. You were told we were dangerous. But you listened. You remembered. And, now together, we will build something new." She raised her hand. A beam of soft blue light shot upward, forming a glowing star above the stage. "Let this light remind you. Truth can never be killed, only hidden. And light always finds its way back." The crowd erupted in cheers all across the galaxy. People wept for what was lost and for what had returned. In the days that followed, great changes began. The Union of Memory ratified its first law, the right to remember. No culture, no history, no truth could be erased by force again. Memorials were built on every major world for the Elyari. A new school was formed on Earth where Vault-born and human children studied side by side. They called it the Lyra Academy. Ronan was offered many things: titles, medals, command of great fleets. He refused most of them. He retired quietly, bought a small farm on the green moon of Callistra, grew food, built a home. One day a small shuttle landed nearby. It was Lyra. She had grown taller, her eyes calmer, her light softer now but wiser. They sat under the stars, just the two of them. "You look older," she teased. "You look brighter," he said, smiling. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a necklace, his daughter's necklace. He stared, confused. Lyra held it gently. "You gave this to me when I had nothing. I want you to have it back now that I have everything." He shook his head. "No," he said softly. "Keep it. Let it shine." As she flew away that night, Ronan watched her ship vanish into the sky, and a new star twinkled where her trail had been. And across the stars, an old whisper found new life. "They tried to erase us, but the humans remembered. And now, the galaxy will never forget."